I've been doing drugs since I was 13 years old to mask my anger and my pain. But every day I think of my children who haven't had me in my life. Since I was 19, I've been in and out of prison. Every time I walked out of the prison doors, most of the time I had a relationship, and most of the time it was a toxic relationship. When I left prison, every time I always had a trade under my belt. I thought I was going to get out and get a job, was welding. I got back here to Wichita. I put in applications to a couple of welding companies, airplane manufacturers. I got nothing. They don't believe that people deserve a second chance to.
And because you don't have that chance, then you have to go back to what you're used to.
Selling drugs. Yeah. It's most depressing that people prejudge you because they see you with a backpack, see you pushing a shopping cart. I've had people tell me, why don't you get a job? I said, well, if you knew my story, if you stopped and gave up.
What's your first name, sir?
My name is Cory.
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 There you go. So, Cory, talk to me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your backstory. There seems to always be, sometimes with people, there's kind of a breaking point, that everything's going pretty well and then everything starts collapsing and then they end up homeless. What was your kind of, what was your backstory on that homeless part of it?
My backstory, well, I just pretty much got fed up with how my family was treating me and started to look for love in the streets. That's when I was a teenager.
Okay.
I'm 44, fixing to be 45 in December. And they still look at me as that wild kid that did all those crazy things. And I did a lot of time in the joint off and on, about 21 years, including county time, probation, and parole. I didn't too much care what anyone thought. Wasn't going to let anyone control me. I did what I wanted to do when I wanted to, and that got me a lot of heartache and pain.
Yeah.
About 15 years ago, I had an awakening, so to speak, and I seen that the lifestyle that I was living wasn't the one meant for me. And I started seeing around me all the negative things that I didn't like, that I used to silently condone.
So talk about different things, like if you were like you were involved with drugs or alcohol or various criminal activities. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to sell drugs. I associated with gang members. I've been doing drugs since I was 13 years old. And right now I'm doing methamphetamines to maintain my sanity, to mask my anger and my pain. But every day I think of my children who haven't had me in my life, haven't in their life.
And how many kids do you have?
I have twin boys that are 24. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I have a 28-year-old daughter. My daughters I haven't met ever, except for my 14-year-old. I met her 3 times as a baby. My twins, I was on and off in their life, in and out of the penitentiary, arguing with their mother off and on, and our relationship isn't as strong as it should be. I regret those things. But going through the things I went through, it made me the man who I am today.
Since you've been out for 13 years, so you're in and out of prison or in and out of jail for that time period too?
Yeah, since I was 19, I've been in and out of prison. I just got off of parole this March. And I have no plans of doing the things that I did before to get me back.
When you came in and out of these, the prison or all that stuff, what is the track? Like when you walk out of there, like what do you walk to? I mean, like do they okay, here is such and such agency, call them, or I mean, is it literally just open up the door and it's like have a good day type thing?
Pretty much. Every time I walked out of the prison doors, most of the time I had a relationship, and Most of the time, it was a toxic relationship. We did drugs, we drank, or I was just thinking about all the things that I did to people, and I would stay in an abusive relationship, and to where my mate would be cheating on me, which I wouldn't care. I just looked at it as like, this is my punishment for how I treated the last one.
Because you ended up going back into like just cycling over and over again, you're back into the same situation. Do you feel that now that, unfortunately, you're homeless, but you feel like you're somewhat out of that cycle, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I believe that part of my journey is over.
So really, in some cases, you almost had to go homeless to get out of this vicious cycle of you going in and out into these relationships back and forth. So talk to me a little bit about the street stuff. Like, kind of give me a overall like rundown of like when you get up in the morning, like what do you kind of do during the day?
When I get up in the morning, first thing I do, I get high.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? I just think of ways to make money to get my drug and to get food, to take care of whichever woman I'm with at the time. You know, I just get ready for another chaotic day, and I try to make it as peaceful as possible as I go through my day. I never stop speaking on God. I never stop telling people how much I love them. You know what I'm saying, and by respecting everyone.
So what is the most challenging thing of being outside? Because I mean, there's so much theft between people and watching your back. I mean, I know you have a couple people that you hang around with and stuff. What is the most thing that is like, oh, this is just so much? What's the most challenging part of the thing?
To know that I'm around human trafficking every day. To know that I'm around people that mentally, physically, and emotionally abuse women. I'm guilty of it, but not on that level. I was gone for 18 months while my son's mother was still homeless on the streets by herself, and some evil people, some bad people got a hold of her and manipulated her and threatened her to do some things and to believe some things. And if she didn't, then they would beat her, rape her for weeks, maybe even months on end, and then release them. That's what women go through on the streets.
It's really, I mean, from what I've gathered from it is, for women, it is very scary out there.
Yes, it is.
It's not a good place to be.
And it's getting more dangerous with our government shipping in homeless people from other states.
Because there's a lot of transitory people that come through.
Yeah.
Correct? That's a gist I get a lot.
Yeah,
is that some of the people that are standing on the side with their sign, they're not actually, they don't live here. I mean, they're here for whatever, a week or so, and then they move to the next city.
Some of them don't move to the next city. Some of them stay.
When you're dealing with the public, what is the most frustrating thing, you being homeless? Like, what is it? Is it not being acknowledged that you exist, or is it more just dealing with that they think they're helping you, but they're really not helping you by giving you stuff, or is they helping you, or kind of where's your relationship with that?
For me, I'm gonna speak on me. In the beginning, you know what I mean, it was for survival. I didn't have a job. I needed money for food because sometimes, you know what I mean, when these people volunteer their time to come out and give us food, stuff like that, sometimes I miss it. And, you know what I'm saying, when you have people dependent on you, you know what I'm saying, you can't afford to miss it. And when you do, you have to get out and find a way to make money to feed them.
Sure.
So in the beginning, I was doing it for food, and once I got the food, I get my drugs. It's most depressing that people prejudge you because they see you with a backpack, see you pushing a shopping cart, that you're just a lazy bum.
Is that how you perceive what you think people think? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just asking if that's what you perceive.
I've had people tell me, "Why don't you get a job?" I said, "Well, if you knew my story, if you stopped and gave up."
And Brian, on that note, like, do you have like if you were able, I know your disability, but like do you have everything that you could walk in and actually get a job? Like do you have all the identifications, all that stuff?
Yes.
You do? Okay. Because that seems to be a challenge for people. Just, I need an ID. It's like, I don't even know where to get it. I mean, there's a lot of challenges with that.
When I left prison, every time I always had a trade under my belt. And the last one, the last, one that I had that really I thought I was going to get out and get a job was welding. I learned how to weld in the penitentiary. I didn't know anything about welding before I went there. I learned everything I knew in the joint. So when I got out, I got my certificate. I got my boss at the job. That's he was gonna he's gonna vouch for me. He's gonna give me a letter of recommendation. I got back here to Wichita. I put in applications to a couple of welding companies, airplane manufacturers. I got nothing.
Because of the background, when they did the check and everything? Yeah.
They don't believe that people deserve a second chance. Once you have that jacket on you of being a felon for drugs, murder, manslaughter, whatever it is, arson, they pick and choose who they want to give a chance to.
And because you don't have that chance, then you have to go back to what you're used to, I'm guessing. The reason you kind of got into that situation.
Selling drugs. And, yeah.
If people would look more towards, like, instead of handing something out, that they look more towards, maybe I should not form a relationship, just more acknowledge this person exists, is more important than, hey, here's a couple dollars. Acknowledging is way more important to you.
Conversation rule the nation. You know what I mean? A few words of encouragement, uplifting, goes a long way with people, especially with the homeless. You know what I mean? With the elderly, with children. If you tell them, man, I'm proud of you. You just don't know. You might have said the words to that person that saved their life. They might have been ready to go take it. You never know what you could do. Anybody could change anything.
So, because that person that you might be giving that to on the street or whatever, I mean,
may not get it anywhere else.
That might be. I mean, they're doing it to survive, because it is basically survival. I mean, you guys survive from like day to day. It's not like, hey, let's see if we can go apply for the want ads. Or I mean, it's just like, okay, I'm getting up, nothing's stolen. Where can I do to get food?
That's a blessing. Every morning.
Move forward. Where can I get food? Now, where can I go get shelter? Because it's 1,000 degrees outside. And then it's like, where can I sleep for the night where I'm safe? And that's basically your days, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like our police make our lives more miserable. They don't try to. They have the hot team. And the hot team is it works, but it doesn't work because they want to be all in your business. They want to come off to your house. They want to. How can you help somebody out, but then you want to police their house? You know what I'm saying? Let the person take care of themselves. You gave them that hand that they've been looking for. Now, give them a rope to hang themselves if that's what they're going to do.
Oh, okay.
Don't put the pressure on them to where they got to be thinking about this thing.
If there was one thing you wanted to say to somebody like in the community, like you go either way. It could just go be like, hey, do this for me, or next time you see this, or what would it be? What would you want to tell them? Like the first thing that comes to your mind.
Don't be so hard on the loved ones who hurt you or your associates. Learn to forgive. Be compassionate, merciful.
Forgive that
the sin
and stuff like that. Because if people forgave other people, then sometimes people would not be in situations like this, because they could actually go to their family to get through these hard times, right? Because you don't have anyone in your family that you could go to.
I do. But like I said, it's like the first 20, 30 minutes,
okay,
everything's cool, and then the next thing you know, I'm this and that. You know what I'm saying, I'm a liar, or you know what I'm saying,
Okay.
just whatever pops in their mind to say to me at the time.
Peace.
I've had more peace on the streets than I have in my family, and that's sad to say because I love my family to death. I know they love me too, but it's a conditional love. It's a sometimey love. It's a light switch. I love you. I don't. You know what I mean? And that's not how God told us to love. God told us to love us unconditionally. Unconditionally, no matter what happens.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. It's a very compelling story, and I think it really gives people a good idea that sometimes it's about relationships more than anything else. And I think that goes in general of everything that we do, is that more important that we build relationships with friends, we build relationships with family, and stop letting petty little things of disputes that happened years and years ago tear families apart.
It happens every day. It's happening right now.
So, all right, can I pray with you real quick?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So, all right, Lord, thank you so much for Cory being here today, and we really appreciate him telling us his story, and we hope that, we know that throughout his life that he has really, you have done your best to show your light, and it is coming stronger and stronger in all of time, and we hope that in time that it will make everybody calm around him, and he will be able to find the calmness in his life. And we hope that everything works well and he's safe being out here on the streets. Everybody have a good day. Good, safe, amen.